So this is a small block Ford Flowtech cylinder head.
Greetings, fellow DIYer, and welcome to my video.
Now, before all the haters leave comments at the bottom telling me what a crappy head this is, I'm going to concede. This aluminum head is probably not going to outperform an Edelbrock, an Airflow Research, or any of the other aluminum heads on the market. This is a budget-friendly head. It will significantly outperform a stock cast iron head, and it will significantly outperform every head on the market, aluminum or cast iron, in the horsepower to cost ratio. There's been a lot of articles done by various hot rod institutions, and they'll do a head shootout where they have all these different heads on a small block Ford or on a small block Chevy, and they do a comparison, exact same motor, which one produces the most horsepower, and which one is the most horsepower at the lowest dollar price. All the articles I've read, everything that I've seen, this one is always significantly better than a cast iron head. But significantly worse than all of the other aluminum heads on the market. However, it always wins at the cost to horsepower ratio because this is a very, very budget-friendly head. You can get a head like this for right around $500, where a lot of those other heads are $800 to $1,200 for just one head. So one other thing to keep in mind, if you're going to rebuild your cast iron heads or you're going to buy remanufactured cast iron heads, you're looking anywhere between $300 and $500 to get the machine work done, to replace the valves, to replace the springs, to get them milled if they're not true, all that kind of stuff. And with the Flowtech heads being right around the $500 price range, to me it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you pay for something brand new that is guaranteed to outperform the stock head for roughly the same money? I have a basic set of Flowtech heads on the 302 that is currently in my Galaxy, and I'm very happy with them. I have a basic set of Flowtech heads on a 351 Windsor that I've been playing with that's sitting on my engine run stand, and I am very happy with them. This is not the basic set. This is actually Flowtech's newest creation. It's called the Thumper head, and it has a larger intake runner volume, and it's also got what they're referring to as a W exhaust port. And the flow numbers on this are significantly higher than the basic Flowtech head. I purchased this head to go on a 393 Windsor stroker motor that I'm putting together. And the reason I decided to go with this particular head is, one, I've had good luck with the other Flowtech heads I've had. But two, when I put the specs, the flow specs for the basic Flowtech head in my digital dyno, I'm using Dyno 2000, a Windows program, and plugged them into a 393 Windsor that I spec'd out. It uses compression ratios, it uses flow measurements, it takes your cam specs, it takes all of that into account, and then it spits out a nice curve for horsepower and torque, and it also crunches the numbers. Now, I've found that that program doesn't exactly translate to the real world. It tends to be optimistic on the super efficient side of things and is anywhere from 10 to 20% higher than the actual numbers that a person gets if they've got the motor hooked up to an actual dyno. But what's really nice about the program is the torque and horsepower curves are fairly accurate. So that allows me to play around on the digital dyno, to change out the specs for a set of heads, to change out the specs for a camshaft, and get an engine that performs exactly the way I wanted to have it perform. So when I put all the specs in and ran it with the stock heads, gave me a decent curve, tons of torque. I mean, I'm building this motor for a 62 Galaxy, so torque is extremely important. But I also wanted to have, a little bit more get up and go in the 4,000 to 5,000 range. I don't see going much above that for this particular application. So I went online to Flowtech's website and I got the flow specifications for this thumper head, which were significantly better than their normal head. And I punched those into my digital dyno and my curves increased significantly. I really got it in a good place to where I'm still maximizing low end torque. I lose just a little bit, but overall, it's going to perform a lot better with this head. And so that's why I decided to go with the thumper over the standard Flowtech head. So what makes this head interesting is what Flowtech is referring to as a W exhaust port. Now, I don't see a W there. I see more of an M, but it's their head. They can call it whatever they want. It's definitely a little short, and I'm not sure why this ridge is here in the middle, but I'm also no expert on flow and things like that. So I'm sure someone who's a lot smarter than I spent some time modeling this out and coming up with the best possible exhaust numbers that they could. I am a little concerned with a stock gasket. If you place it over the ports, we definitely have a mismatch down here, and there's actually a little bit of a lip here. Fel-Pro 1487 is the gasket that Flowtech actually recommends for these heads, and that may fit these ports a little better. I also need to look at the ports on the headers and see exactly where they're at and how they're going to fit up against this, but that's a little more than I'm going to go into in this video. For right now, this is your basic setup with the exhaust ports, and I'm hoping that it will flow as well as the flow numbers indicate on Flowtech's website. So here we have the Flowtech thumper compared to a cast iron Ford E7 TE head. Now the E7 TE was very common on Mustangs and pickup trucks and Explorers. A lot of the late 80s, early 90s vehicles came with this head. It's one of the better heads that Ford made. Now, it's no GT40 head. I'm not going to try and spin some web that, oh, this head's amazing. But for easy to find, easy to get performance, the E7 TE is actually a pretty good head. It's got the solid mount, non-adjustable rockers. Obviously, this is stud mount, so I'm going to be able to put roller rockers on this. Valve train, fairly similar on the top half. Obviously, you can see the massive difference between the exhaust ports here and the exhaust ports here. It's going to make a huge difference. Good or bad, I can't tell you yet. I'm hoping that this works as well as advertised, but we will see. So this right here is clearly the source of some of those improved flow numbers. Comparing this to this, that is a massive intake port. This has been gasket matched and is fairly small. A little port work has been done there. So a stock head is going to actually be even smaller than that. So you can see where this is definitely going to flow a lot more air. So this right here is another major difference between the stock E7 TE head and the Flowtech thumper head. So these are stock valves. I believe they're 178 and 148, whereas these are 202s and 160s. Now, on a 302, unless you were revving it up into the really high range, I don't know that I'd go with valves that big. But where I'm putting these on a 393, I think it's going to perform extremely well. These normally from the factory are a 64, give or take, cc combustion chamber. I actually had these milled down 35 thousandths to bring them in right around 58 cc's. And these are right around 60 cc's. So it's a good size chamber for getting a good compression ratio, obviously depending on the pistons you're using and the total displacement of the motor. Also, Flowtech talks about this chamber design being very efficient and working very well to produce power. So I'm hoping that that is the case in this particular setup. Overall, I've never been disappointed with the quality of my Flowtech heads. They are a good quality unit, and a couple of times where I've had a question, I've gotten excellent customer service from Flowtech. Just so we're on the same page, I paid for these heads. I'm not sponsored by Flowtech, so this is not some ad that I'm putting together for their heads. I'm just telling you my experience with them has been nothing but positive. Now, will they perform as well as my digital dyno says? I hope so. But at this point, I don't know. I've still got to get the 393 put together. You can come along with me as I build a 393 and I put these Flowtech heads on it.
If you like what you've seen, please click like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.